Into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler up at Harvard University, and whoa, Ziggy, did not see this coming today. Not gonna lie to you, Bears are putting the finishing touches on the Eagles here, 24-15. I will say I'm happy to see this. I know the Bears are a division rival, and typically you're not supposed to root for your division rivals, but like screw the Eagles, man. I have no problem at all seeing their fan base booing and unhappy here. You're muted, Ziggy, or at least you're not coming through.
Yeah, and we're out of the playoffs, so it's not like it even really matters that the Bears win this game.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter particularly if the Bears win this game, but
for us, it matters a great deal for the Chicago Bears, who are now the 2 seed in the NFC, 1 game behind the LA Rams for the 1 seed through 12 games.
Yeah, and I understand the final score here is going to be 24-15. This was an ass whooping. This was a complete ass whooping from the Chicago Bears, and I'm sure that there are some Bears fans sitting back today going, hell yeah, put some respect on our name. This is who we've been all season. I have to imagine a lot of Bears fans are also a little surprised. Like, I don't know how many people really thought they were going into Philly and winning despite the troubles that the Eagles defense has had. But if you're a Bears fan who believed in this team, you're saying this is what we've done. We run down your throat, and Caleb makes enough plays to win the game. And it's exactly what they did today. It really was the picture-perfect story of who both these teams have been this year. The Bears gritty, the Bears physically dominant, and the Eagles offense just unable to do anything. And the growing frustration symbolized almost by the crowd just the entire day. This groaning frustration and mounting frustration that culminates in them failing on the 2-point conversion to lose the game. The one thing that surprised everyone, I think, is just how dominant the Bears were on the ground against an Eagles defense that we have a lot of Packers and Lions fans who listen. Just shut down the Packers. Just shut down the Lions. The Bears go for 282 on the ground, Ziggy. I mean, just unbelievable from Monangai and Swift, who both go over 125, not just 100 yards. The first Bears rushers to go over to have 2 over 100-yard rushers in a game since 1985. That year worked out pretty well for Chicago. They go 46 carries, 282, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Just dominant.
All right. Did you have any other more talking points to get through?
I was waiting. Sorry, I'm just blown away.
I want to make sure we get it out of the way because you're going to hype up the Bears and I'm going to drag them down. I want Bears fans to have a second.
Really?
I mean, this was a fine game from Chicago. The defense did a great job against Philadelphia, but I did not like what I saw from Caleb Williams this game.
Come on, man. Come on.
Caleb Williams had a couple good throws, and generally he didn't play very well.
Sure. But this is what it's going to come down to for Chicago is like the way they play football transfers over well to the playoffs, right? Run the football physically.
That does not transfer over well to the playoffs. What transfers over well to the playoffs is having a really good quarterback.
All right. Look, if we're going to sit here and just say the Bears at 9-3 stink because Caleb Williams had an up and down day, we can do that, but I think that's disingenuous.
To be clear, I'm not sitting here saying the Bears still stink. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm not saying they didn't play well this game. I'm saying I've been down on Philly for weeks, and I think this game was as much about Philadelphia not having a real offense as it was the Bears having a great run game.
I mean, we have to give the Bears credit.
People want to say that Caleb Williams is playing great football. You want to come out here and say this is what the Bears do every week. They dominate you in the trenches. Caleb Williams plays a great game and they win.
I didn't say Caleb Williams. I didn't say Caleb Williams had a great game.
So you agree he didn't have a good game?
I thought he had an up and down game. I thought he made enough plays to win, and the touchdown at the end to seal it was a fantastic throw. Throw that most quarterbacks can't make.
Caleb Williams had a couple really good throws this game.
I mean, yeah, like what are we doing here? Are we just going to disqualify the Bears because Caleb is up and down? They're 9-3. They just beat Philly on the road.
Yeah, it was a good win.
All right, so what are you saying as far as the Bears being competitive here? Everyone wrote them off this week. Like them winning wasn't really in play, and they go in here and they dominate Philadelphia. I mean, every single statistic, 27 first downs to 10, 413 to 229 total yards, time of possession 37 to 18. Right, like game's not over yet, but I don't know, man. I think the Bears have been playing good football lately. I think they're a good football team. I have no problem saying that. They turn the ball over more than anyone, and they're good on the ground. Yeah, that's playoff caliber football.
It puzzles me that you say this is what wins in the playoffs when this isn't what wins in the playoffs. But we can set
Ziggy,
that
last
aside.
year the Eagles ran for 200. The Eagles won the Super Bowl on this running the
Yeah.
football last year. What do you mean that doesn't
They,
transfer to the playoffs?
typically, the thing that predicts how well you play in the playoffs is how good your quarterback is.
Sure.
And look, I'll say the Chicago Bears should be very happy that we're sitting here thinking about, is Caleb Williams good enough to lead this team to wins in the playoffs? Because that's a big step forward from where they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, that is the question for Chicago at this point. It's Caleb's gonna, when you get to the playoffs, there's going to come a time when Caleb's gonna need to make a big throw or a series of big throws. Can he make those throws? Will he make those throws? He can make them, but will he
All
make
season long, the answer has been no.
Tonight he did. What do you mean?
Tonight he made a couple of good throws, but he was also 17 for 36 for 150 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
Yes, but when
that
he
is,
needed,
I don't look at that and say, "Wow, that was really good football." Caleb Williams consistently made long series of great throws.
again, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not
He
saying.
just said he made several series of great throws this game.
I said when he needed to make plays, he made them. I didn't say he had a great game, and I said in the playoffs he's going to need to make a couple big time throws, and that's what he did tonight. Like, this was a playoff type of game in Philly. That's a game that the Bears potentially could play. They may lose in Green Bay next week. They could be on the road in Philly. And Caleb, yeah, like you want to get better from him. As Philly misses a kick, that's pretty funny. They just finish off booing them here.
And they missing the extra point. This game was a disaster from Philadelphia.
Like, I'm just looking at the comments here, and everyone's saying like, everyone's saying he did not play well. That's fine. Like, yeah, Caleb was not amazing today. The Bears did what the Bears do. Like, enough. I'm tired. We have Packers fans, Vikings, Lions fans. They're 9-3. I think the Packers will beat them next week and take the lead in the division. But like, come on, guys, you gotta give them some credit here.
Yeah, I'll give the Bears some credit. They're a significantly better team than they were last year. The coach knows their strengths. They're executing with given the level of talent they have. I think this Bears team is a slightly above average team.
The Packers scored 7 points on this team, and we're on their home field, and we're embarrassed by the defense. The Lions went on the road, scored 9 points. We're embarrassed by the Eagles' defense. They made Goff uncomfortable all night. Chicago just hung 24, moving up and down the field, long drives all game.
It was a good game from Chicago.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if we want to give flowers to the Packers and flowers to the Lions and all that whenever they play well, the Bears kicked ass tonight.
The Bears
sorry.
had a good game.
Yeah. So why can't we say that that's something that they could carry over for the next few weeks?
Because the Bears haven't played very well up until this point this season. And look, you can go back to the preview of Andy. I said I thought the Bears had a good chance to win this game, right? This is not a game I completely counted them out of. I think in our preview, I had them losing by 1 or 2 points. Like, I thought the Bears had a decent chance of winning this game because I don't think Philadelphia is a particularly strong team. And the Eagles' offense was really off tonight. And I think we'll get into that a little bit later. But to this point in the season, I have not been impressed with what I've seen from Chicago.
And what
you are, and that's fair enough.
I was impressed today, in particular. I
thought this was a good win from the Bears. This is their best win of the season.
I thought Caleb last week was really good against Pittsburgh. He had the horrible fumble in the end zone. Other than that, I thought he bounced back nice. Went for 240 and 3 touchdowns, no picks. Like, listen, guys, what the Bears are going to need to do, and it's something that they've been good at right now, they avoid oftentimes they avoid negative plays. And I'm looking at Caleb Williams' sacks. Last year, he has 68 sacks, leads the league. This year, you can't get him down. I mean, he's sacked 17 times all season. He has 4 interceptions. He had 1 today. Maybe it's 5 now. I don't know what the number is. But, he's one of the league leaders in fewest interceptions. And as they don't make many mistakes. That's important. I mean, that is something that when you play Chicago, they're not going to beat themselves. Or, yes, any random game you can have it blow up in your face. We all know that's possible.
They've generally done a good job of that.
But
last year, Caleb Williams had more negative plays than any other quarterback in the NFL. This year, he's above average in avoiding them.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying here is that when you're playing Chicago, you're playing a team that is not going offensively is not going to beat themselves. They go for 142 yards a game on the ground. That's second in the NFL. And Caleb, yes, then it comes down to Caleb. And a lot of people here don't believe in him. I get it, right? I understand why you might not. I think he's improved this season as the year's gone on. Just for people to come in here and write off the Bears, That's a great win, and it's crazy to me to not give them some respect today.
I mean, I'm giving them some respect. This was their best win of the season. They'll probably go from 18 to 14 or 15 in my power rankings. I think they're an above average team in the NFL. But
Sure,
what I saw in this game was not enough to convince me that the Bears are contenders for the division, that they're contenders for the NFC, that they're contenders for the 1 seed.
they
They won a
are
good game on the road.
they are absolutely contenders for the NFC North.
I still have the Bears as my third best team to win the NFC North. They're better than the
To
Vikings by
win the
a
North,
significant margin. Yeah. I think the Lions and the Packers both have a better chance of winning the North than the Bears, even with what we've seen up until this point.
yeah, they still have at Green Bay versus Cleveland versus the Packers, at San Fran and versus Detroit. That's four of those games are going to be against playoff caliber at the very least teams. But today was the first test. And we even looked at the Pittsburgh game and we said the Bears have their opportunity in front of them to go out there and prove it. And they beat the Steelers in a game where the offense looked awesome. And now they go into Philly on a short week. Like, it's hard in the NFL going in on a short week and winning on the road. What the percentage of teams that go on the road in these Thursday night, this being a Friday game, it's not very high. I think it's super impressive with what Monangai and Swift have been doing. I'm sorry. Maybe people are mad at me for being.
People shouldn't be mad at you for being impressive what the Bears have done. This is a huge improvement from last season. And I think the Bears are trending up.
Yeah, so people here, y'all can't say nothing about the Bears wins. Yeah, look, next week's an unbelievably big game, and it's really fun. Like, this sets up an incredible NFC North matchup of the 9-3 Bears and the 8-3-1 Packers, first place on the line in the NFC North. 1 seed's still in play with the Rams at 9-2 leading the way here. It's right there in front of them. It's right there in front of them, and also, I want to give a shout out. Nahshon Wright, like the Bears defense we mentioned, leads the league by a pretty good amount in turnover differential this year. Nahshon Wright now, at least 3, if I'm wrong, let me know, Bears fans, at least 3 straight games now with the turnover forced. He picked off McCarthy. He picked off Rudolph last week. And just a massive strip of Jalen Hurts late in the game, late in the third quarter. I thought that was the biggest play of the game. I mean, that was the turning point right there. Caleb throws.
Why did we let him go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look. Caleb throws the interception. We're the Vikings, Ziggy. We do. It doesn't work out for us usually. Caleb throws the interception, and it's 10-9. Bears are winning right after the Eagles touchdown. And you're thinking, if you're a Bears fan, you have to be thinking, here we go. Like, this is how it falls apart. This is how the Eagles typically win these games, right? They have the big play. They'll put maybe Barkley has a run, Brown, they find him in the end zone, and they're going to take the lead here. And on a tush push on 3rd and 1, Nahshon Wright strips Jalen Hurts, and the Bears get the ball back and go 12 plays, 87 yards in 7 minutes, 17-9 lead. And that was the turning point of the game. And it was all Nahshon Wright, who's just been really, really good at making big plays over the past few weeks. Just want to shout him out there because that, to me, was the signature moment of the game.
Wait, and this is the question that faces you if you're looking at what to think about the Chicago Bears. Is on the one hand, they've had players like Nahshon Wright who have played really, really well. As you said, Monangai and Swift had a really good game. We've seen 2 different Chicago Bears teams this year. We've seen the Chicago Bears defense that's given up gigantic piles of points to opponents. And we've seen the defense like today that can generate turnovers and get it done. We've seen an offense where Caleb Williams can really struggle and you get something like the Baltimore game. And we've seen games like today where Caleb Williams doesn't play great, but he has a few big throws and the run game takes over. So the question going down the stretch is, are we going to see the Bears team that's had to eke out wins against the Raiders and the Bengals and the Saints? Or are we going to see the Bears team that just went into Philly and won? And I can see arguments for either side. My view continues to be until we see more consistency from the quarterback, because that's the thing that tends to be most consistent. I'm not going to be in. But the Bears have shown they can play big games. I totally agree with that. And as I've said, this was by far their biggest win of the season, and they did it really well. Like, if you're trying to build momentum going into a huge game in Green Bay, this is what you have to do.
And look, I'm not sitting here. Maybe people are misconstruing what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Bears are my pick to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to go to the NFC Championship game or anything like that. What I am saying, though, is that a lot of people have sat back and said that Chicago is a fraud team that will get exposed in the playoffs, and if you play the Bears round 1, easy win. That's what I'm saying is not the case here. I don't think the Bears, if they go on the road to Green Bay, if it winds up being that they're the 6th seed or something, they go and play the 3, I'm going to pick the 3 seed. Whether that's the Rams, whether that's the Bucks, like whoever it is. I mean, I don't know. Actually, I might pick them over the Bucks. But most likely, if they go on the road, I'm going to pick against them in the playoffs. But that will be a tough game. Like the Bears are a team.
There are no easy playoff games in the NFL.
I know, but I'm looking at, there are people in here who are talking about like the Bears just being a team, they stink. Caleb will mess up.
But when you talk about teams being fraudulent or being easy wins in the playoffs, you have to understand that relative to the competition. People, I assume, aren't saying that the Bears are a worse team than the Cardinals or the Raiders or the Titans or the Jets. People are saying the Bears are a worse team than the Packers, than the Lions, than the Seahawks, than the Rams.
Than the Eagles, who they just beat, who also just beat the Lions and the Packers.
I mean, if you have listened to the show, I have been ringing the alarm bell on the Eagles since at least that Packers game.
You have, but if you want to give the Packers all the praise in the world for how good they were against Detroit and for beating the Vikings and looking like a Super Bowl team, that team was just shut down at home by this same Eagles team.
So are we doing the transitive property of games?
Yeah, we're playing it a little bit.
Hold on, maybe the Lions aren't so impressive. I mean, they beat the Giants, and the Giants blew out the Eagles, and the Eagles aren't a very good team because they lost to the Bears. So maybe the Bears are better than the Lions.
I mean, Ziggy, we're looking at
how we're reasoning here?
Well, we're looking at games that have happened over the past 10, 15 days here, and the Eagles' defense has been stout. They had a bad half against Dallas, and other than that, I mean, they've dominated. I think you have to acknowledge that the Bears were the one NFC North team over these last 3 weeks that have had success. Like we were all talking about the Eagles being a Super Bowl team because the defense could carry them. And today Chicago goes for 300 on the ground.
Yeah, defensive performance is inconsistent in the NFL, which is another reason I don't think the Bears defense is going to continue playing this well.
Yeah, I mean, I see people here.
I'm saying this was a good win. The Bears played good football. This is their best win of the season, but it's too early to look at this game and discount everything that brought the Bears up until this point.
Discount they're 9-3 still. They're gritty. They find ways to win, and I think they're getting better.
But you shouldn't have to be gritty against the Raiders and the Vikings.
Well, I mean, why?
Or the Giants, or like that. I mean, this happens.
The Raider game was week 4, Ziggy. The Raiders was week 4.
Yeah. The Bears have had a really good win against the Eagles since then. They beat the Steelers, but I haven't been impressed with anything they've done really since week 4, except this game.
Except the most recent example against the best defense.
So, again, if you want to say the recent example is the only one that matters in assessing teams, and indeed, this is sort of how the NFL media generally reacts, right? You are going to see Bears Super Bowl contender because of this game, but that's not a very good way of making predictions about how the rest of the season's going to go.
Yeah, I guess we just disagree on Chicago's competitive ability. Or I mean, maybe we're closer. Maybe we just seem further apart from the way we're speaking, and actually are similar. But
there's a reason why the Bears are going to be 7.5 or 8.5 point dogs going into Green Bay.
They're not going to be 8.5 point dogs. They're not going to be 8.5. They're going to be
dogs, probably by at least a touchdown going into Green Bay.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it's like I was
like it's opened at 7. It's opened at 7.
Well, it's not 8.5.
Yeah, I said you're right. I was off by half a point.
Yeah, guys, don't worry. I'm not going to put the Chiefs at number 1 in the power ranking. I react to evidence. On this show. I don't know where Ziggy's going to put the Chiefs, so I can't speak for him. But Philadelphia, though, I mean, where's your panic meter on them? It's got to be pretty damn high, 1 to 10. Let's say 10 is the highest. What number are you coming in at?
I don't think this game should increase your panic meter very much if you're Philadelphia, because these are the exact same problems we've seen over the past 4, 5, 6 weeks. But your panic meter should be very high. I'd put it at like a 7.5. You need your defense to be absolute lights out, not giving up more than a touchdown if you're Philadelphia to win a game, because the offense simply cannot get it done. The play calling is bad. The players are unhappy. Jalen Hurts is not getting it done. And unfortunately, unless you're the 1985 Chicago Bears, you cannot count on your defense not giving up more than 10 points every single game.
Yeah, it was pretty funny watching the Eagles crowd just, relentlessly booing pretty much from start to finish in this one. I can't stand the Eagles. I was super happy to see it. A lot of people I was watching the game with my dad, and he was saying I just can't see the Bears be good. Like that is part of the problem here. I'm rooting for Chicago in this game because I hate Philly. But man, like if Chicago actually winds up turning this thing around the way that it looks like they're on track to do with Ben Johnson and Caleb, like that will make me sick to my stomach. If we're now talking about the Bears being in a great place moving forward, the Packers being in a great place moving forward, and the Lions being in a great place moving forward, where we're just so far down in the dumps that it's our quarterback is the second worst quarterback of the millennium. Like it's just absolutely crushing. Thank God for Notre Dame football right now, or otherwise my football soul would just be utterly broken. But with that said, back to Philadelphia. Sorry, I had to spiral for a moment. Back to Philadelphia.
At least somebody else is suffering too, in addition to us Vikings fans, right?
Well, you know who's jacked up right now? AJ Brown. AJ Brown is probably on top of the world today.
I think AJ Brown is probably pissed off right now.
Oh, AJ Brown, 10 catches, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's probably.
I believe AJ Brown when he says that he only wants to dominate if the team's winning. I think what he wants to have is 10 catches, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns in a slaughter.
I think he's walking through he's probably playing Walking on Sunshine in that locker room. Jalen Hurts is slamming his helmet. Nick Sirianni's screaming and steam coming out of his ears. And AJ Brown's like, what are you guys so upset about, man? This is a great day. Great play. Going Black Friday shopping.
I'm not going to be here for this AJ Brown slander. AJ Brown wants to win football.
I love Jordan Mailata's like, yeah, he's not a diva. Yeah, obviously he's a diva. And there's nothing wrong, he's a good person. I like AJ Brown. I think actually what he does for mental health is awesome, and he seems like a nice guy. Yeah, he's a diva. Like that Philadelphia locker room is a complete disaster. You can mark it down right now. There's just no world they're winning the Super Bowl this year. It's just not happening.
Isn't it just weird that this Eagles team, like the offensive coordinator position on this Philadelphia Eagles, they seem to cycle through them every year. And who the offensive coordinator is, whether they have a good one or a bad one, just decides the season. Like it's that simple. In Philadelphia, you would think of all these stars and all these players, the offensive coordinator wouldn't be that important. But it seems like they get a good offensive coordinator, they go to the Super Bowl. Then that offensive coordinator gets a job somewhere else. So you hire a new one, he sucks. You miss the playoffs or get bounced in the first round. Fire that guy, bring in a new one, you go to the Super Bowl. Like we're on the second time doing this cycle.
It is still just mind-boggling to me when you have the guys they have. And I think AJ Brown still has it. I think Saquon still has it. The offensive line is
you
clearly.
You think Jalen Hurts still has it?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's there are people in Philadelphia in that locker room who I bet if the season ended today and you said you could go after a new quarterback, would absolutely go for a new quarterback. And I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a winner. I do think that there are some just natural winners. I'm not saying that a loser can't become a winner.
What does natural winner mean?
I think
he's got gravitational pull and winning. He just attracts winning.
Yeah, I think he does. I actually think
I don't
he
know
does.
what that means.
I think where Jalen Hurts goes, success typically follows, and he's not going to. I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 quarterback in the league. But when the lights shine brightest, usually Jalen Hurts shows up. I get that he was benched in the national championship game in college, followed that up the next year by coming in and winning the SEC championship game when Tua got hurt. But his whole career, I mean, he's won.
Until you play the Chicago Bears.
Until he plays the Chicago Bears, who clearly are legit.
If he's got a gravitational... This actually explains a lot. If you think Jalen Hurts just naturally attracts winning just by existing, and then Chicago goes in and overcomes that force and beats him, I mean, good for the Bears.
No, but
I totally get it.
But Hurts has been bad, and he was not good today. I don't think. While I do think he's a winner, and again plays his best oftentimes when it matters, he struggles a lot at times. And he's someone that, when things start to fall off here, I don't think he can carry the team. And frankly, right now, I mean, they just don't look anything like the Eagles of last year. And Saquon not running for 2,000 yards absolutely hurts. And the tush push is not nearly as successful. Just watching the past handful of weeks, right? It's been stopped a few times. They're fumbling on it. That was a play that was automatic before. There's a lot of problems in Philly, and still going in there, assuming that they're able to hold on and win the division. They're 8-4 now, and Dallas is 6-5-1. So you got to
Yeah.
think that Philly holds on to the division, and going into Philly is still a really tough test, especially in the cold. It's still that defense is very good. I just have a hard time seeing them stringing together enough offensive success in the playoffs when they do eventually have to go on the road to get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, though, funny enough, the Cowboys are 3-1 in divisional games. The Eagles are 2-2. Tiebreakers, as you said when we talked about the Packers in our previous show, probably don't matter much because of that tie.
Yeah.
But keep an eye on these divisional games. Like they're the NFC East, weirdly enough. We really thought it was the Commanders that would be contesting, or the Cowboys maybe as a dark horse. But the Cowboys are the only shot of the Eagles not making the playoffs at this point. But having just won, the Eagles need to figure it out fast. And unfortunately for them, I don't really know what sorts of things. I know they play the Commanders twice. People are going to write those in as automatic wins. I don't think they are. But I don't know if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. What can you do to fix this before the season's over? You
No,
can't
you
just
can't.
get a new
No, you
offensive
can't.
coordinator.
You can't. This is who they are. I mean, we're at the point in the year now where it's just week 13. Like next week is week 14 of the season. This is not. Oh, how can we address? If something gets fixed, it's borderline miraculous, right? It's just the perfect timing. Like now is the time of the year where the teams that are going to go on the run start to get hot. So when we saw the Packers a couple of years ago start to get hot with Love. It's when we saw the Commanders last season with Jaden Daniels start to get hot. There's just no signs of it in Philly, like remotely. I think the Packers fans can look at the game yesterday and go, okay, we can build on this. The Bears fans today are looking and going, all right, we can build on this. Maybe in a different light than Green Bay because Love was so good, and you're right, quarterback is very important. But I just don't see it happening with Philly right now. And Ziggy, right now, if you were a playoff, let's say you're a fan of the Bucks, okay, the Bucks. Would you rather have Philly or Dallas coming in to play you?
I would rather have Dallas coming in to play me. The reason for that is Dallas. You can always be in a game with Dallas. Dallas, the offense can be good, the defense can be good, but they don't have the ability to completely shut you out of a game. They have not done that this season. The Eagles' defense, sometimes it's just good, but sometimes it's the best in the NFL, and you simply cannot score on them no matter what you do.
What's pretty amazing, yeah, unless you're the Chicago Bears and can run,
Well, no, this is
and
what I
can
mean.
run
The
on
defense doesn't always play that well, but it's not as if Philadelphia. I mean, there is a world where Philadelphia absolutely shuts down the Bears' run game. They've got one of the better run defenses. I don't believe it's as simple as Kyle Monengai and DeAndre Swift are elite, and Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the worst running backs in the NFL. Like, I don't think that's the story here. And Ben Johnson deserves a lot of credit for calling up good run game and attacking the Eagles on the outside rather than the inside. But the Eagles' defense just had a bad day, and the Bears took full advantage of that, and they made it happen. But the Eagles' defense is still something I don't want to face in the playoffs if I can avoid it.
Grace Cone here goes, can we all just take a deep breath and laugh at the Vikings? That's a sick comment.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
I mean, yes, you absolutely can take a deep breath and laugh at the Vikings because we've got a race between 3 good NFC North teams, and the Minnesota Vikings are just.
It's Thanksgiving weekend, Grace. Like, have a show a little mercy.
I told Andy when we were on right before our show, I'm glad that the Vikings didn't have a Thanksgiving game because I'm not sure I could bear to watch us just 4 or 5 days after what happened in Green Bay last weekend.
Yeah, disaster. Yeah.
Which we had the misfortune of seeing in person. But I'll tell you, I'll guarantee this right now. I don't think the Bears will go into Green Bay and win. They will look a heck of a lot more competitive in Green Bay than the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, well, that's what they've been this year.
Caleb Williams will have more yards than interceptions in the second half.
the Bears, yeah. Look, man, am I a believer in the Bears? I'm trying to really think. Can I consider myself a believer if I still think they're probably one and done in the playoffs? I think they'll get there.
Improvement from where the Bears were last year.
Like I think right now the Lions, right? We were talking almost as if they were guaranteed to lose to Philly today, and we said when the Bears drop to 8-4, the Lions are there at 7-5. They have the tiebreaker, and they play them again in Chicago. The Lions control their destiny to jump the Bears and to knock them out. It's not the case. Now it's not the case. Even if they win that game, if you check it off for Detroit, still a game back. Like the Lions I think if you polled the country and said who would win a neutral field, Lions or Bears, I think most people would pick Detroit. But Chicago, like, they're keeping that gap. And Lions fans still can feel reasonable that they can catch them. And, maybe Chicago loses next week in Green Bay. It's getting really dicey for Detroit. And how many people would be shocked in August if you told them 2 NFC North teams get in and the Lions are not one of them?
It would have been surprising.
Extremely, extremely surprising, especially after the first 2 weeks, where you saw what happened to Chicago against Minnesota and then the blowout, the massacre in Detroit. Ziggy, I'm looking at the division standings right now, and it's really just been such a fun season, other than us sucking, which is just such a damn shame because it's so wide open here. But other than the Vikings sucking, all the teams that we thought, right? We thought the Bills and we thought the Chiefs were eventually going to make the run and catch New England and Denver. Like, those teams have actually just separated more. But then you're looking at the teams like the Colts, who we thought were a runaway. The Bucks were a runaway. The Eagles were a runaway. We thought the Packers or Lions might run away. Like, now you have the Panthers are 1 game back in the loss column. The Cowboys are making a run. The Jags are a game behind Indianapolis. Who knows what's going to happen in the AFC North? The Bengals are still alive with the Steelers and Ravens faltering. Like, this is, every single division really, other than, I guess, the AFC, other than the Patriots over the Bills and the Broncos over the Chiefs, is going to be really exciting down the finish here.
Yeah, the NFL was crazy. The Colts might miss the playoffs. I don't know if you saw Daniel Jones he's decided he's going to play out the rest of the season on a fractured fibula. So we will see how that goes for Indianapolis. But all around the NFL, this is the most, we've been saying all year that the NFL was the most open it's been for some time.
Yeah.
And that a lot of the traditional contenders, it's like Kansas City has just had a stranglehold on the AFC. Well, we talked about it earlier today. They may have to go undefeated just to make the playoffs.
Yeah, you mentioned Indianapolis, Ziggy. The Colts' next 3 games are hosting the Texans with Daniel Jones hurt and that team surging, Houston, at Jacksonville, who could be playing to take the lead in the division, and then at Seattle. The next thing you know, you're 8-2, you blink your eyes, and you're 8-6, and things get a little shaky. Like, it's just going to be a phenomenal finish over the next 5 weeks here.
I'll just say I do not understand this Jaguars team at all.
No, they're super weird.
They're incomprehensible. You lose 35-7 to the Rams. You beat the Chargers 35-6. You beat the Raiders by 1 point in overtime. Like, what am I supposed to do with this team? I don't know.
I have no clue. TS Tasteless here goes, are the Bears just a mid team with the best luck in the NFL? I don't think that you can call this lucky, though. That's like there's a difference between, the Chiefs last year were getting pretty fortunate at times. Like, even though I had them ranked super high in the power rankings, like, those were a lot of lucky wins. And blocking the field goal against the Raiders, to some degree, there's luck there. I know that actually, if you dive into it, the Bears found a flaw in the Raiders kicking game. Like, that really came down.
But that is also
that's lucky
kind
too.
of luck.
Yeah, you get lucky to block a kick no matter what. But you look through the rest of their wins here, and it's like, Cincinnati, they were kicking ass. The Steelers game, I don't think they got lucky to win that one. Against Minnesota, they were beating us up pretty good. And then we got lucky that, we made the comeback. They should have beat us week 1 as well. Giant game, a little fortunate there with Dart leaving the game. And today was not lucky at all. I think really they've just been, I think they've been outperforming teams and outplaying them, and they're making the critical plays that other teams aren't.
Yeah, luck can be said in a lot of different ways. And if by luck you just mean something like they've been fortunate that things have generally gone their way this season, that much is right. But that's true for almost any NFL team that's at the top. When things really don't go your way, you're probably not going to win games. When things do go your way, then it becomes, are we good enough to actually take advantage of that? And Chicago absolutely has been.
I'm seeing people, I've seen multiple comments now that are talking about comparing the Vikings to the 2022 Vikings to this Bears team. And I just think it's a bad comparison. Now, the Vikings in 2022 won 13 games. If you win 13 games, like, you're a good football team. Okay. If you win 13 games, you're a good football team. But one big difference was the 2022 Vikings, they also had a defense that was giving up 400 plus yards or almost 400 yards a game. I mean, their defense was one of the worst in football. The Bears defense is not one of the absolute worst in football. Like
No,
that.
and with that 2022 Vikings team, you can look at those Bills and Colts overtime comebacks and be like, wow, that's crazy. When the Cowboys come into our building and beat us 40-3, we lose to the Packers 41-17, second last week of the season.
Yeah, like that team showed signs. And the Bears have their tough games coming up, so maybe that happens. I just don't see it happening. But that Vikings team showed signs of slipping up. You're watching people. I mean, they were just getting torn apart in the passing game. I've said several times the reason Daniel Jones got his contract. If you go through his game by game stats from 2022, he had like 300 plus yards 3 times. It was against the Lions, who gave up the most passing yards in football, and the Vikings twice, who gave up the second most passing yards in football. They were just getting shredded. Like that, they had flaws everywhere, and it was exciting and it was exhilarating. You know, we're kicking walk-off 60-yarders against the Giants. The Bills game, as you said. I mean, you can point every single game that year was magical. The Bears aren't winning magical games. Like it's not magical.
Yeah, the only game that felt magical to me was that Bengals game, and that game was magical only because of the onside kick and just all the stuff that led up to it.
It was the Bears who blew it, not. It wasn't the
Yeah.
Bears coming back.
No, and if you talk about times the Bears have been outclassed, there was one game this entire year where the Bears were absolutely dominated, outclassed, didn't look like they belonged on the football field, and that was week 2 in Detroit. Now, Detroit's a good team. I think Detroit is better than the Bears. But you also have to say that was week 2. And while I always want to talk about when there's a new coordinator, when there's new coaching in town, it takes about half a season for teams to really adjust. If you go to about the halfway point of the season, which would have been that Bears-Ravens game, the Bears have looked a lot better since then.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A lot of those close games that I want to point to, and you're right to call me out on this and say, well, the Bears beat the Raiders by 1. They beat the Commanders by 1. That was in September and October. Now, they also beat the Vikings by 2, the Giants with Russell Wilson by 4, the Steelers by 3. But they are winning their games. And you can't say, people sometimes wonder what we mean when we say, like, the Bears have been lucky to get to this record, which I think they are. I think the Bears are more like a 7-5 team than a 9-3 team. But 7-5 is not a team that's like terrible or bad or sucks, or you're like, oh, there's just 7-5. We can crush them.
And they're getting guys back. And
7-5.
Jalen Johnson returned today. They're getting some guys back. Like, yes, the defense is not. I'm not out here saying the Bears have a great defense. It would be insane. I think they're ranked like 27 or something. Like, yeah, they're.
It does worry me how dependent on turnovers they've been.
That is one thing that you could worry about in a playoff game is they have been forcing turnovers at a ridiculous rate. If that comes back, and that's not something you can rely on, that's a place where you can be a little bit worried about the defense. But just recently, I think that defense has been playing. I mean, they've been okay. Like the Giants moved up and down the field with Dart, and Pittsburgh put up 28. But I don't think the defense is going to doom Chicago. It's not like the Bengals defense. It's not that Vikings 2022 defense.
No, it's not the 2018 Bears defense that will win 9 or 10 games on their own. But neither is it a defense where the offense has to be putting up 500 yards a game to win. Like what the Bears are is they're an above average NFL team. And if you ask any Chicago Bears fan before this season, right, we're through week 13. You're leading the division. You're an above average team. Caleb Williams has gotten rid of a lot of the negative plays. The defense is starting to get hot. You sign up for that every single time. This season has been an outstanding success. Yeah. But now they've got to finish the job.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Bears beat the Eagles 24-15 today. They go for 2. Was it 2? Let me make sure I get this right when I say it one more time. 281 on the ground. 47 carries, 281 on the ground, and 2 touchdowns. Just a monster game for them. We'll see what happens next week. They go to Green Bay with the NFC North lead on the line. Ziggy, thanks for hopping on. Hope everyone again had a very happy Thanksgiving yesterday. I know a little testy in the comment section today, a little testy off the top with Ziggy and I debating, but at the end of the day, it's all in good fun. I mean, Ben Johnson's got his shirt ripped off in the locker room right now celebrating. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Go out there and get some good Black Friday deals. Be civil. And we'll see you on Sunday for a reaction to some week. Oh wait, do I need to real quickly? Were there a couple?
Yeah, there are a couple super chats we can do before we wrap up.
Okay, real quick. Let's hit those because I actually do have to get going.
Yeah, so this one's from Tyler T774. We got a lot of these type. Green Bear's gonna put belt to ass on these bum ass Bears.
Okay.
Yeah, we know how Packers fans feel about this team. This is from JT Womack. As a Packers fan, I wanted the Bears to win. Green Bay plays Chicago twice. Now we control our own destiny. Yeah, you do.
I mean, you do. Yeah, you do.
Quasar, is it possible if the Vikings get a QB, all 4 Super Bowl windows are open at the same time?
Well, that would be fun.
But from an impossibility, anything follows. From Stephen Anthony, cheers from Chicago, gents. Was hard to see Bears win that game, but watching Philly fail and their fans distraught is chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was awesome. I love seeing the Eagles fans upset.
And we've got one from Vex that says Lions playoff odds take another hit. And MP Bear Down saying how good was Love versus Philly, implying correctly that Caleb played better.
Yeah, I'm seeing Nosh Jack. Caleb had a horrible. Wait, was it here? Did you say that one? Caleb had a horrible game. Didn't matter yet. Tyler put 8 in the box. Make Caleb play QB. Rich Harris. Bears will be smelling their own farts next week. My God, we are.
Cool. You know what? Let's go on a positive one from Anthony Tronchita. Give the Bears credit. We are a great team. Are you a great team? I don't know. You are a good team. You are a much better team than you've been in the past decade plus, and you have to enjoy that.
We'll wrap it up there. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Ziggy, happy Black Friday. I don't know if people say that, but hope you have a nice weekend as well. We'll see you.
Don't buy anything to that.
All right, let me end that. And